Okay, so we're doing this little mini project in which we're going to be taking some holiday, winter kind of character, and you're going to put them somewhere unexpected. So you can interpret that any way you want, and you can also pick whatever character you want. Like if the ones that I provided aren't working for you, you can always go with something else. And that whole term, unexpected, your own interpretation. So my demonstration, I'm going to show you how to put Olaf onto a post-it, little post-it like this. So the first thing that you do is you find your subject, and you have to remove all of the background from this photo. So you can use a variety of different tools. So you can go, for example, and use the lasso tool, and you can find areas. In two ways you can do this. You can delete the background, or you can use the lasso tool and select your subject, and then you can bring it over to your picture. So I'm just kind of roughly selecting it using the lasso tool. Oops. So if I wanted to combine what I selected and I wanted to combine more, I would change the settings up on top here. Let's add to selection so you can see it's adding more, and I missed his foot. So I'm going to grab that. And if I have all of him, if I have the marching ants, I can copy, go to the picture, go to edit, and paste. So there's a little Olaf over here. So as I said, you can stretch it out as bigger or smaller. Just make sure that you keep the proportion, clicking on that equal sign. And as I said before, you just gotta find a way to make that selection nice and clean. You can see I have a lot of that blue area. So you could certainly jump to the eraser tool if you wanted to. There's my eraser tool. And you can erase some of the spots. You can go back to the layer mask tool and you can remove and put back. Whatever is going to get you to get rid of all of that background. So you can try the magic wand tool, see what that does if you select some of the blue and hit delete. That might help. You just got to watch out, make sure it's not selecting some of your subject as well. There's a bunch of them that you can certainly try. Quick selection. Also works, but you know, we're going to do this quickly. You can visit however you want any of these tools, but right now, whatever's going to get you to select this subject. So what I'm going to do, one of my favorites, is using the polygonal lasso tool. And I'm going to make selections of the background. And hit delete. And I'm going to keep working on this, doing it this method. Okay, and then I'll come back. So once you've selected all of your image and it looks good, you can always make the background invisible and just verify that everything is selected, because sometimes you forget about some bits around the edge, but this looks pretty good. Okay, so we're going to make a copy of this layer. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can right click and you can duplicate layer. You can also go up to layer up here and duplicate layer. You can also hit Command J or Control J. But I tend to just drag this layer right on top of that new layer button right there, and I made a copy. I'm now going to make this layer very dark. This is what I'm going to be using for my shadow. So I'm going to I hit Command U, brought the lightness all the way down. I switch places though. Okay, so right behind here, you're going to find this layer. So make sure, I just want to make sure I'm on that particular layer, and there it is. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flatten down this layer to make it look as though the layer is sitting, the shadow is going to be sitting on this post-it. Okay? So to do that, you're going to go to Image, Transform, nope, I'm sorry, Edit, Transform, Distort. And when you do this, you can take the edges here and you can drag them down real nice and low. So it gets a nice flat shadow. If it doesn't seem to be fitting on that background that way, you can try it the other way. In other words, instead of dragging it back, maybe it'll look better if I drag it down in front, off to the side. I think this is the way I'm going to set it up. So I seem to have room over here. Okay. So we're literally just flattening that down, just like that, so it fits on the space. Okay. If I wanted to move this over, by the way, let's say I want Olaf, since I want this shadow to be over to the right, I want to move Olaf over, but I also want to take the shadow with it. So what I can do is I can hold down the Command button, and I can select both of these layers, and then if I use the Move tool, notice that they both are coming along. Okay? So I just wanted that fitting there a little bit nicer, not so tight along the edge. Okay, I'm going to go now to this layer 1, and it does look like a shadow, like the shape looks like a shadow, but we're going to make it a little bit more realistic. So we're going to fuzzy it up. To do that, we go to Filter, Blur, and it's called Gaussian Blur. So you can see it already kind of started to blur already, so you don't want to blur it too much where you don't see it. You just want to blur it enough so it looks a little bit more like a shadow. Like that. So you can also, if it's too dark of a shadow, you can also lower the opacity a bit. Now in some shadows, if you've seen them, a lot of times shadows are darker when it's closest to your subject. So I might decide to add a little bit more darker shadow over here, like as another sort of level, and it will be another layer. So to do this, I'm going to make a new layer. I am going to make sure that layer is behind my subject. I drag it down, and I'm going to use a brush. And I'm just going to manually use black, and I'm going to use a soft brush, and I'm going to go ahead and brush some on there. Let me undo that. I can also, if you look on your keyboard and you look to the right of the P, there are brackets next to the P, and that's a shortcut to make your brush bigger and smaller. If you add too much, need a smaller brush. So kind of like that. Then again, you're going to go back up to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. It's a separate layer. It's not going to interfere with anything else, but it will allow you to blur it up a little. So you can see there's a deeper value of layer over there. You can also lower the opacity of it. And I think it looks better. Let's see, it looks a little better with it. Okay? And that is it. That's pretty much it. Hopefully you'll have fun with this. We're putting Olaf, the Grinch, Buddy, the elf, anybody that, any characters you want, and you're just putting them in an unexpected place. All right? Save these as JPEGs before you submit them, and have fun.